Hey, what's up everyone? In this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to change the outer tie rod on a Ford Taurus 2000, but this should work for pretty much any car out there. Alright, so here are some of the tools that I'll be using in this video. We have pliers, a grease gun, torque wrench, breaker bar, 3/4 socket, hammer, adjustable wrenches, and of course a new pair of tie rods. So first you want to jack up the car and place it on jack stands, and then you want to remove your wheel to have access to the tie rod. So that's the tie rod we're going to remove, and it really helps to turn on the car. You don't have to turn on the engine, but just turn on the car to unlock the steering wheel, and then we can get better access to the tie rod. So now we can pull out the cotter pin. However, depending on the condition, you may have to break it. Thankfully, the kit comes with a new cotter pin, so we're going to use the new one. I recommend using pliers and lubricant to try to remove the original cotter pin. In this case, I wasn't able to remove it, so I had to break it. But that's okay, we have a brand new one. So now we can break loose the castle nut with a 3/4 socket. If you have an impact gun, go ahead and use it. It'll be much faster. So you may not be able to pull out the tie rod just yet. You may want to use your castle nut in reverse to tap it with a hammer, making sure it's flush. You should only do this if you don't care about breaking your castle nut or your threads, stripping your threads, I mean. And you may run into an issue of trying to remove the castle nut, which happened to me here. So I had to use locking pliers to remove the castle nut. Since this is an old tie rod, we can just hammer at it to break it loose. Again, only do this if you don't care about breaking your tie rod. And this one was old and very loose, so it definitely needed to be replaced. Okay, so now we have to loosen the jam nut. So put back the tie rod into the knuckle. This will prevent it from spinning as you loosen the jam nut. Alright, so now we can take off the tie rod, and we're going to be counting the number of spins so that when we install our new tie rod, at least our approximation for the alignment won't be way off. We're still going to be required to take it to an alignment shop for proper alignment. So here's a side-by-side comparison between the old and new tie rod ends. I'm going to be using the new castle nut as well. So to reinstall this, it's pretty straightforward. Remember to count the number of spins. Once you have the approximate number of spins, you can insert it back into the knuckle. And if you have a new castle nut, go ahead and use that one, or you can use the old one if you didn't break it. In my case, I'm using the new one. And this castle nut, I'm torquing it down to 45 foot-pounds. Okay, so now we have some other pieces. So we have the new cotter pin. It also came with a new jam nut, which I won't be using. I'm using the original one for the jam nut. And also install your grease fitting if it came with one. And the grease fitting does not have to be tightened down too hard.
There you go.
Okay, so now we can install our cotter pin, and it just slides in like that. You may have to align your castle nut a little bit, but after that, make sure you bend it properly so that it wraps around the castle nut. Of course, we cannot forget to grease the boot with our grease gun. You should only pump enough grease up until the boot expands a little bit. That's more than enough there. Also, don't forget to tighten back your jam nut. I almost forgot this step. Finally, you can put back your wheel. And remember, you still have to take it to a proper alignment shop so that it gets machined aligned. And that's all there is to it. Thanks for watching.